What pictures should you take in your chiropractic office, and how can you and your CA take better pictures? I'm here with Hope, and she is the genius at Moments with Hope Photography, and she is who has done so many of my beautiful professional shots on my Instagram and Facebook. She is also my sister, and she also worked in an office as a chiropractic assistant. So her information is just so valuable that I wanted to be sure to get her expert opinion for you all to learn from. So thank you for being here, Hope.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so one question that I wanted to start with was, why should chiropractors take their own pictures when there's so many pretty stock photos available?
So that's a good question. The thing with stock photos is that they're not very personal,
Mm,
though, yes, you can find millions out there. They're so pretty and they might make you feel more comfortable because it's not you, but that's actually not what your clients want. They want to see you, they want to see your office, they want to see you doing adjustments, especially in today where social media is such a massive part of our daily lives. They're going to be able to tell really quick whether you're using a stock photo or a photo from your actual office.
mm.
And I don't know, it just gives off the wrong vibe sometimes, but relate to that more. And it can even make them, after they've seen your office, be like, oh, yeah, I've seen this. This is where we took this photo. Like, it just makes it so much more relatable.
Absolutely. Okay, so something that I have struggled with, and I think a lot of us who are not professionals like you in taking photos, is sometimes we take a posed photo and that's all we can do is two people smiling at a camera. How can we get more action and movement in photos that we take?
So this it's a little bit harder to do on your own. So getting your CA to help you out, or a lot of time there's willing family members. I mean, again, today social media, everybody has an iPhone, they can take pictures. So getting somebody to actually take a photo of you adjusting is huge. Um, I would highly recommend doing a series of photos. We all know that people like to swipe. So if you do a series of adjustments, that'll help them engage and really see exactly what you're doing. Um, Boomerangs and reels are really huge on Instagram right now.
Yeah.
And those are a little bit harder to do on your own. But again, CA, even family member, or just like setting it up on a shelf and hitting that hands free is so helpful and is a lot of fun and helps people really engage with your content. And that'll help you get some action in your feed.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's so great because it is true that sometimes we think, oh, that photographer took one picture and just got the shot. But I know that you talk about how many thousands of pictures you take to carefully curate the ones you're going to use. So taking more photos in a series, you can probably get a get a better shot, better movement than what you were thinking when you started.
Yes, and a little trick that you can do, and of course, the newer the iPhone you have, the better, is you can actually set up your iPhone and start a video and video the entire adjustment and then screenshot it and take pictures. If you don't want to bother your CA or they don't have a family member, that's also a really easy one. And it's sometimes the photos might not be as crisp, but again, just starting out, like try to get those action shots and that might be a little bit more in your comfort zone and then you can reach out to family members and stuff like that, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so lighting is so huge and it can be so tricky. Not everybody is in the perfect light at the perfect time of day for an adjustment. So what are your tips for getting good lighting?
So, yes, every office is different. You have some offices that do have some natural light. You have some that are in adjustment bays or rooms that are completely walled off. So, one thing that I would suggest doing is if you have some big windows that are not in your adjusting bay, have nothing to do with that side, is bringing clients over to that window and getting like your posture shots your 100th adjustment, your first adjustment, kind of coming up with fun ideas like that by that natural light, so that that's something that you can, have in your feed and curate and have a bunch of variety. With your bays and walled in offices, that's a lot trickier. Um, Adding in as much light as you can, even if it's artificial,
Yeah.
is helpful. Um, there are some video lights that Amazon sells that are pretty cheap and do an incredible job that you can kind of play around with. It's really hard to get those wrong, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
So adding those to your space is really helpful. And then in low light places, you actually, if you're shooting on an iPhone, want to use the volume button to take the picture. It stabilizes it because it's really hard, to get your thumb over and get it just right. So if you click the volume button, it's a lot more stable in low light situations.
I think that my Android does that too. Remember that.
Nice. 'Cause I don't know Android. I'm hoping. I know there's a lot of things that are similar and different. So
Yeah.
I only iPhone, but that's a good thing to know for Android as well.
Yes, and I will say that I got a ring light from
Mhm.
Amazon, and it was maybe $40. So those are
Yeah.
some things that are readily available.
Yes. And there's also they make they're called video lights, and they're about that big, and you can adjust the brightness, and it kind of looks like a floodlight, a mini floodlight.
Mm,
And I've seen that people like those better because they do have the attachment where you can attach it to your iPhone, or it can freestand, where a big circle on a tripod might seem a little overwhelming or kind of in your face. So, but play around, and I mean, whatever works for your office. They've got Amazon, of course, has a million options.
My next question is, we want to show video and photos of adjustments, but sometimes it can feel like that's a little repetitive and we don't want it to start getting boring. So what are some ideas for different angles or views? How can we change it up?
So, not knowing everybody's offices, one of the easiest and best ways is to simply just take out your phone when nobody's there and open up the grid on it, and then just look through it and start looking at your office. Play with high angles, play with low angles, take shots from the side, see if you have like a doorway that you could frame it. Framing is really important. Different things like that. Just always playing with the angles. Getting other people to take the shot, of course, so that you're in some shots, because people want to see you. Again, we want to make it authentic and personal, showing off your office and how you do things. Um, you never want to take a photo straight on. That's how we normally do. I think people are getting better with like angling it. But when you take it straight on, it's just not flattering
Mhm.
at all. So you always, when you do take a photo, want to make sure it's at a little bit of an angle. I mean, it doesn't need to be, way up here talking to people, or, down. You don't want double chins and things like that.
Yeah.
But just always kind of tilting your phone one way or the other, or turning it, will give you some fun angles. And then even having a client be like, hey, what do you see? Do you want to take shots? Um, I'm sure, cervical adjustment isn't the most flattering, but I mean, thinking of fun stuff like that, where from the client's perspective, from the chiropractor's perspective, from a watching person's perspective, just trying to change up all those angles. And then, you can repeat photos. I mean, you'll have different people, different outfits, but trying to get a good variety to post in your page is important and will really help things not feel stale or boring.
Fantastic. Yeah, I there's one chiropractor who has done videos from the patient's perspective where it looks like
Mhm.
maybe the patient is even holding it above their head, and it's just like,
Right.
wow, that's such a good view. So
Yeah.
yeah, that can help so much. Now, I've also had questions myself and for clients who have said, how do we edit photos? What are some presets? Like, what do we need to do after we've taken this photo?
Okay. So I would always say, do not use a filter that is already on your phone. They they look more fake than they do professional, if that makes sense. And you're really going for a professional, polished look. So presets are what you want to find, buy, use. Um, that can be as easy as going into your app store and simply putting in presets for iPhone. There's tons of people out there that sell their own, or there's companies and apps. My favorite is Lightroom. And in Lightroom, you can purchase whatever type of mood you're going for. Um, you have light and airy, you've got dark and moody, you've got very contrasted, there's just more golden tones, more blue tones. And I know that might all sound like gibberish, but as you go through and look, you'll be able to go, ooh, okay, I see gold, I see blue, I see, very dark, and I see light and airy. And you can choose. Play around with it, but once you find one, I would try really hard to stick to that, just so that it's more curated and all looks mildly the same. There's also, I think it's Snapseed is another app, Pro Camera, Polar, and Pixelmator are really great. And they're very easy to use, has some great instructions, or you can always, Google's always your friend. You can
Yeah.
Google it and find the answer.
Yes. Now, so do they just need really one preset, or do they come like in a bundle of presets?
They usually come in a bundle because presets are not usually a one-click fix. Sometimes they are. Like, don't let that scare you from presets. Sometimes they are. And sometimes you have to adjust the exposure, which is your lighting. Sometimes you might want to warm it up or cool it down. So, and it'll show you all those guides, but you probably want to purchase a bundle because, just taking a photo from here, you use one preset. From here, if you turn and you have more light, you're going to use a different preset. Might be in the same bundle, but just because of the way the light is playing, you'll want to do some different tweaks and things to it.
Okay.
Again, there are some that might be one click, and that's great. But if it's not working on a photo, don't be like, oh, this is garbage. Start playing with your exposure, start playing with contrast. It's actually a lot of fun. And I might just say it because I'm a photographer, but yeah, don't be worried if you put a preset on a photo and you go, what is this? Like, it's too dark. It's super simple to make it lighter or darker, or bring out whatever you're wanting to bring out in that image with presets.
And with that preset, it's still going to stay in the same tone, even though you're adjusting it.
Yes.
Okay.
It can still in that same preset package. Like, if you got a light and airy preset bundle and a dark and moody preset bundle, you use light and airy on like 90%, and then if you have one picture they're like, oh, let's just see what this dark and moody looks like, and like, oh, I really like that. It's not bad, but it's not going to look the same as your other ones, which sometimes, if you want to mix it up, that's okay, but be very careful with mixing because it does not always look great.
Yeah.
And there's apps that you can look at your feed before you post and kind of curate it before you even post it. So you can go, oh, I see where this one moody photo that I really love could play a really nice part in between these two quotes or something like that.
Excellent. Well, I love that idea of using what preset you pick and having that support your branding. We have another interview about branding and graphic design, so that all just ties in. And yeah, just doing something that stays consistent so that it still feels like you. But I think that sometimes people still feel like Instagram presets should all be that, teal and apricot preset that that was there. And it's good to hear that if we don't want that color, that look, Instagram, Facebook, any photos on our websites or whatever, it doesn't have to be white and teal and apricot, that we can have a variety of things. I think I see more photographers that are doing a lot of dark and black and really playing with light that way. And so that's great to see, because that could be more on brand for a chiropractor's style and for their office. So let's see. I think also, I don't know if you have seen the trend. I wondered if, as a little bonus, you could speak to. There's a trend of more like having a 90s grittiness to photos on Instagram. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is all on your preference. I won't do it because it does not fit my brand. I might do it in a random reel that I'll do just for fun, just to maybe be on trend. But again, the thing people want to see, I mean, we love seeing trends, we love seeing similar videos, but the main thing is people want to see authenticity and they want to see good branding. So if that's not your brand or you really don't like it, don't feel obligated to. Or if you're like, you know what, that looks like fun, I'm down for that, then 100% do it. People, hashtags are so fun, and a lot of times people will do a hashtag and then you just get lost scrolling and looking through things. So it is good to try out trends, but don't feel like you have to. And if it doesn't fit with your brand, definitely do not do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing all of this value. I wanted to wrap up with saying there's definitely a point where we need to bring in a professional to do a photo shoot on a regular day and just give us a stockpile of photos. So talk to us a little bit about that. When should we just bring in a professional?
So probably when your clients have gotten comfortable with you taking photos. That would be a good time. And when kind of you've started running out of ideas, like you've tried, a lot and you just need, a break, but you still need to post content, would be a great time to bring in a professional, have them come in. You will probably see a switch in editing. I would try to find a photographer that kind of matches what you've already been posting. So if you like light and airy, get a light and airy photographer. If you like dark and moody, get a dark and moody photographer, because it is it is not nice to ask a photographer to change their style, and
Sure.
most photographers won't, because again, branding. So bringing them in to give you a break and kind of give you some more ideas. And again, a professional can be there for an hour and give you over 100 images, so that you can use throughout the whole year, or until you feel like, okay, I can get back into this, however you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a great idea to plan a couple of times a year to have that photographer come in and just give you some of those curated images, and then you can throw in your own more spur of the moment, a little bit more, like they're all authentic, but you can throw in some of your own photos with the professional photos and just get a really nice balance going there.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
all righty. Well, thanks so much for talking to us. If you are looking for a photographer, I do know that Hope can be convinced to travel at different times, but she does super book. So thank you so much. If you have any other photography questions, you can feel free to comment in the group and we will get those answered for you.